My name is Mike, W4OPS. I'm actually the president of the National Amateur Radio Alliance. We formed earlier this year, back in February, March. We kind of came up with the idea after the Hamfest down in Orlando. After talking to some people in Orlando, we decided to come up and form a national organization. And it kind of evolved for a couple of reasons. But interesting enough, one of the main reasons is because I wanted a challenge coin. And there's a story that goes from me wanting a challenge coin to coming up with an Excellence in Amateur Radio Award. And I was Googling because I wanted an Excellence in Amateur Radio Award. Say someone like Bud or Dan had a mentor or, a fine young ham that was doing a good job at CW and they wanted to give them a token of, hey, you're just doing a great job. They could give them an Excellence in Amateur Radio Challenge coin, which there isn't one. So I wanted to come up with a challenge coin, decided to do some Googling, and lo and behold, there's not even an award for that. There's no award that's just the general Excellence in Amateur Radio. So I got to be down in Orlando, and I saw in their booklet they have some awards that they give away every year, and it says presented by the Hamcation Hamfest committee, and I'm like, I wish I had an organization to give away this award and this challenge coin that I came up with. So I'm just like, I need an organization. But hearing some talk on social media, talking to friends and stuff like that, and looking at other organizations or other countries like Australia that has multiple national organizations now. And if you look at other communities, they have multiple national organizations. And I'm like, why does amateur radio only have one national organization? There's almost 800,000 licensed operators. There's plenty of room in the community to have multiple ones, each handling their own little niche. So we started the National Amateur Radio Alliance to help support local clubs and support amateur radio operators in the U.S. And that's kind of how it came about. And man, have we hit the ground running. One of our very first initiatives, and I'm not a big contester myself. I also serve on the Winter Field Day board, which is coming up in the end of January. So I'm familiar with nonprofits. And that's more of an emergency communications exercise. But I wanted an event where people would just get online and talk to each other, kind of like maybe the Scouts have Jamboree on the Air that's happening right now, 13 colonies, all these special event stations that are happening. But I want it to be more conversational, bring back some conversation to HF. So we invented Club Week, and it's really a week-long event. It runs November 1st through the 8th, and it's a chance for clubs to get on the air and talk to other clubs. Hey, how long have you guys been a club? What kind of activities do you guys do? How many members do you have? And it's a celebration of clubs, but it also gives clubs an opportunity to do outreaches in their community. You could set up in a Walmart parking lot, Lowe's parking lot, do a Parks on the Air activation that week, do anything you want. So I'll circle back around to Club Week here in a moment, but some of the other initiatives that we came up with, of course, there's the Excellence in Amateur Radio Award, which is coming soon, that we will be offering, and you can nominate people for that award, and we will be giving that award out on a weekly basis. We came up with one more award, and this was inspired by one of our board members, our youngest board member, Josiah, and his brother. And this is the Alfred Vail 2020 Young Keyers Award. It is an award for CW operators who are under the age of 20 who are proficient at 20 words per minute or better. And that was one of the other awards that we came up. We have an idea for a national presenters panel, regional club councils. We have a lot. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to jump into some of this stuff. Can you guys see my screen? Am I sharing it? Yeah, it looks like I am. So, National Amateur Radio Alliance, we want to be a hub of information. We don't want to go out and create information. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. There's no need for us to be a VE. There are plenty of VEs out there who are doing a great job. So we don't need a VE. We don't need a magazine. There's plenty of other places out there that have, some really great, really well, excellent magazines. So we don't need to sell insurance. So we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we want to be a hub of information. So if someone comes and says, hey, I want to learn about this aspect of ham radio, or I'm really interested in learning how to do this, we can scour the internet and say, we've found these resources to be some of the best resources out there on this subject. Start with these, these resources and go from there, and kind of be a concierge, if you will. This number is a little bit outdated. We're actually closer to 400 members, 397 maybe now, in almost all 48 states. We may have picked up another state. These numbers get manually updated as I have time to update them. But looking at some of our initiatives, and I'll start with the Alfred Vell Young Carriers Award, because I think it's really neat that we're recognizing young CW operators, and they're amazing. Like, they don't have to do it. It's not required for any testing, but they want to do it. So we chose Alfred Vell. It's not the Samuel Morse CW Award. We chose Alfred Vell, and our website tells a little bit about why we did that. But the spirit of it is, every time anybody gets on the air and calls CW, there has to be someone else on the other end answering that call. That's the only way amateur radio works, is if it's a two-way, communication. There has to be someone answering and calling back. Symbolically, that's going to be the next generation of youth that are, becoming amateur radio operators, which is important. But Alfred Vell was one of the prominent figures that actually helped Samuel Morse refine his system, and he was on the other end of the telegraph messages whenever he was sending his famous CW messages. So we chose to do Alfred Vell, and just because we're a new organization doesn't mean we have to ignore the rich history that amateur radio has. So we wanted to bring about some of that history and inform some people. But this is this is an award that people can actually apply for already. I'll jump over here to, I believe it's this page. This is the application award. They have to be under 20. They have to have a valid amateur radio license, and they can copy and send 20 words per minute or higher. Now, we've actually teamed up with the Long Island CW Club, and I'm very proud and very honored that they would partner with us to do the proficiency test on this award. So after someone fills out the application, we send this over to the Long Island CW Club. They will contact the applicant and do a proficiency test, certify that they are eligible for the award, and then we send them out a nice framed, certificate as in for the Alfred Vell 2020 Young Carriers Award. So that's one of the things that we're doing to recognize youth, which I think is really cool. Jumping back over here, the Excellence in Amateur Radio Award is another one that I was talking about. But I'll speak briefly about the National Presenters Pool, because clubs are one thing that we really want to focus on. And I want to talk quite a bit about Club Week during this presentation too. So the National Presenters Panel is a panel that clubs can go to find speakers who are willing to present at their club meetings via online platforms like Zoom or Google Meet. I know a lot of time as a club president or vice president, my brother was a club president for several years. And one of the hardest things to do is finding someone to say, hey, what are we going to do for a presentation this week? Do we want to learn about satellites? Do we want to learn about SDR radios? Do we want to learn about mesh? And who do we find someone to speak about that? We are currently seeking, I want to hide that. We are currently seeking presenters who want to sign up for the National Presenters Panel. And if you're passionate about a subject, whether it be, parks on the air, CW, Earth, moon, earth type signals, whatever subject you're passionate about. You can come in here and sign up as a speaker, name, email address, kind of your bio, and what topics that you enjoy talking about. And especially since, RATPAC has had so many people over the years presenting, I'm sure there's a vast knowledge of people who've been on the channel and people who've watched the channel who could sign up for this, who are more than willing to speak at clubs. Once you fill this out and hit register, it gets thrown into an approval area where we go through and approve it. There's a page that's currently in development where clubs can go and actually request speaker. There's a button on there, they say request speaker. Enter 2 or 3 dates that they would like to have the speaker come. So the speaker has some options. He can look at his calendar or her calendar and say, oh yeah, I can do that second option there. And they contact the club directly. So they're not scheduling speakers through us, but we're the people who are introducing one hand to the other and saying, hey, you're a club in need of speakers. This is a list of people who would like to speak at clubs, and we're connecting those 2 people. So I think the National Presenters Panel is going to be a huge resource for clubs to find presenters for their club meetings. So I'm excited about that. Along with, you can see Club Week, regional club councils, and club location map. You could say we have a focus on club, and that's because that's one of the areas where, when we started talking, some of the other board members and I and some of my trusted friends that I talked to about, where are the holes in the amateur radio community that we can help fill, and we think clubs is one of them. So we have an idea, and there are clubs out there that are doing this already, and they're doing it well, and we think it could be brought to a more like a national standard almost. And this is for regional club councils. This is a online platform, kind of like Zoom or Google Meets, where clubs can come together once a month in certain regions and have powwows, conversations about what's going on in their area. How are you guys? I see you guys have 3 more members this week. How are you guys growing, and how are you guys getting all these members? Because this club over here would like to do the same thing. The other thing is, I'm a firm believer that there should be a amateur radio representation at every state fair across the U.S. And I have said this, and I will always say it because I believe it. But not every club has the manpower to man a booth at a week-long state fair. And that's where the regional club councils come through. If you guys are talking on a quarterly basis or on a monthly basis, you can work together and plan these larger events. If there's a marathon, a Chattanooga Mountain Man marathon where they need additional help, well, on your monthly club council meeting, you can reach out to those other clubs and just remind them, hey, if you have any members who would like to help us out, we're still looking for volunteers for this event. And we'd like to see clubs working together, and especially in ways of hamfests. I see a lot of hamfests that are going on throughout the year in a small area. Let's just take rural Missouri, because that's where I'm hanging out at right now. There may be 4 or 5 smaller hamfests throughout the year, but if those clubs could come together, collaborate, and work together and create one larger regional hamfest. And then I've shared this with several hamfest committees, pair that up with a regional Parks on the Air meetup. Those Parks on the Air people are pretty passionate about what they do. And they'll travel 3 or 4 hours for a regional meetup to activate a park and meet fellow activators and stuff like that. So, and then do a dinner or some kind of presentation on Friday night. So you have a get into town, Friday night, have dinner, get a hotel room, do a ham fest in the morning, until 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon, and then have an evening cookout barbecue at a park and do a POTA meetup at a park afterwards. So now you have a whole weekend celebration They're not coming to a smaller ham fest where you have, 10, 20, 30 tables, but they're coming to a bigger ham fest where you may have, 40, 50, 100 tables, and they're coming from different areas. And that's one of the things we're looking at doing this weekend. We're going up to Sedalia, Missouri. SparkCon is up there, and they have a ham fest. The guy's been working really hard to grow that event, and we definitely want to see that grow as a Midwest ham fest. There's not that much this side of the Mississippi. Everything's in Alabama, Florida, so we need a side of Mississippi, and I sincerely hope that SparkCon can grow into that. They have an excellent presenter, Amelia Rose Earhart. She's doing a presentation Friday night. She is a licensed pilot and an amateur radio operator, and she has a presentation called Navigating Life's Turbulence that she's going to be doing. I'm especially excited about that. And then they have the show on Friday day and Saturday day. So it's going to be a long weekend, but it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. So regional club councils, the National Presenters Panel are two initiatives that we're working on for clubs. This other one is a club location map. And I'm going to show you that in the background too, because I have it sitting here. But our club locator map is a work in progress. So we've developed this. So even a person in the most rural part of Iowa, or even the most rural part of South Dakota, can get on here and find a club that's closest to them. We've scoured the database and we've come up with 12,000 clubs, which is a huge database. Now, not all those are, valid. We meet in person once a month clubs. Some of them are family clubs. Some of them just formed because they wanted a repeater type thing. But we hope this is going to become a resource for clubs. So it's an interactive map, and something went wrong, of course. And it's not loading. Maybe it's my browser. But on this map, you'll be able to click the database, and you can see it says 75 clubs. And you can zoom in and out, and it shows you all the clubs that are closest to you simply by zooming in and out and searching. You don't have to enter a zip code. You don't have to enter a state. Maybe you enter a zip code, but the closest club is, just 2 zip codes over from you. So we think this is going to be a big resource for clubs. It's not linked from the main page yet. There's no way, it says launching soon. It doesn't go anywhere. That's because 12,000 table database needs a lot of work. There's some GPS coordinates that need to be cleaned up in there. So that when you click Kentucky, it's not showing you clubs in Iowa and New York as well. So we're working on cleaning up that database. But it's going to be set up so as a club president or club secretary, you can go in there and claim your listing. And if you want to add additional details, because right now we just have your call sign and club name, but say you wanted to say, hey, we meet the first Thursday of every month at, the ambulance barn, you can go in there and add that information. If you have social media, you want to put your Facebook on there or an email or a repeater information on there, we're giving clubs the opportunity to update that information, because we know not every small club in America has the ability to have a web page. And not every small club in America has the ability to have a social media presence. So if they're passionate about amateur radio and they want to get members, this gives them a presence online where clubs can find them. Unfortunately, right now, if you say find a club in Missouri, right, find a ham radio club in Missouri, let's do that. The number one page that's going to come up is the ARRL, because they have a lot of content on clubs. But they only have affiliated clubs listed on their website. So even though you may have an affiliated club within, 50 or 75 miles of you, you may have another club 20 miles down the road that's not listed on their website. So you lose out on the opportunity to find that club and network with those people. So we're working on this. It's a big work in progress. We hope to have it launched soon. I don't think we put a date of 2026 on it, but it will be launching sometime early next spring. And likewise, clubs can go on there and be like, hey, we're not, we're just a family club. We don't have open membership for members, or we're a private club or something like that. Please, remove our dot from the map, and we can take their dot off. So that's the club location map. I want to jump up here into Club Week, because this is what it's kind of our original initiative, and I'm super excited about it. We announced the dates at our forum in Huntsville. It was our first forum that we did, the Huntsville Ham Fest. And the dates are November 1st through the 8th. And you can see a couple quick things here. It provides opportunities to set up in public spaces, like I said. It promotes activity across all the ham bands. Because it's not a contest, there are no points. You don't turn in your logs. I don't care about the logs. Don't care about the points. So you can operate on any band you want to for Club Week. It encourages conversations between operators. It's not a 5-9 next type event. And it helps new hams overcome mic fright. And I think this is an event that can grow more so than, I'm not going to say it would become more popular than Field Day, but for getting new hams on the radio, I think this is an event that has a lot of possibility. Because if you ever go to like a GO station on a Field Day and you're a civilian and you're just walking by and you say, hey, what's going on? And they say, oh, come over here, we'll give you a chance to talk on the radio. The amount of information that comes at you so quickly and so fast that it's really almost overwhelming. It's just like, okay, say this, now say this, now say this, and now say over and next, and the next one. And it can really be an overwhelming ordeal. So this is going to be a more laid back opportunity for people to get on the air for the first time if they're a new general licensee and talk on the radio. So unlike a contest, it does not involve any points or things. The primary purpose of it is to exchange sell cards. We want you to have the opportunity to chase after those QSL cards that you don't maybe hear on the air very often. For example, maybe the Disney Amateur Radio Club. Disney has an amateur radio club. Kennedy Space Center Amateur Radio Club. A lot of these battleships have amateur radio clubs. In fact, I think the Tennessee contest group is actually a Tennessee contest group. So it gives people the opportunity to chase those club call signs and get those club QSL cards, which are kind of really commemorative and really nice to have. And that's the main purpose of the event, is just for you to exchange QSL cards. And the neat thing about this is when you start getting, middle of December, whatever, when you start getting these QSL cards coming in, now you have another opportunity for engagement. Those hams that participated in Club Week, have a night where you guys get together around the table, order some pizza, do whatever, and teach the young, new hams or the older new hams. I mean, people are getting their licenses in their 50s and 60s. It's incredible. But say, hey, we're going to have a night where we're just going to sit around and we're going to fill out these, 50 cards that came in, and walk you through the process and show you how to do it. So it gives you an opportunity to have a second engagement after the event, where you're having a QSO card filling out party. We have some suggested exchanges down here: club name, call sign, city, state, a brief description of your day, or ask questions about your club. A brief description of your day is for those new hams who are just like, I don't know what to talk about. Well, tell them how, tell them what the weather's like here. Of course,
You're breaking up some, Mike.
Oh, I appreciate that. Hopefully that's better. Um,
Yes.
so um,
You're breaking up again.
don't know why. The other thing, hopefully that will become more clear, is talking about 5.9. If you do want to give a signal report, we suggest you give it in the long format. Now, what do I mean whenever I say long format? Well, don't say you're 5.9. Say, hey, I hear you loud and clear. You have a really strong signal. This does, again, it teaches people what those, that signal report is. A lot of times people will hear your 5.5, your double nickels, your 5.9, your 4.3, your 2.2, whatever. But unless you're an experienced ham and you've been doing this for many years, you might not know what exactly does 4.4 mean. What does that mean? So giving the signal report helps you get you familiar with what those numbers mean, when you're doing it in a contest now, even though everyone's always 5.9, right? Um, Recommendations, update your QRZ page so that it has the most up-to-date contact information on it. Stock up on the QSL cards, obviously, and make your event public and engaging. Go set up one Saturday in a Lowe's parking lot and set up Sunday in a Walmart parking lot, or do it at a local community center. Invite the Rotary Club, the Boys and Girls Club, other things like 4-H, Boy Scouts. There's lots of organizations that you could say, hey, we're doing this public event for Club Week. We're contacting clubs across the nation. Come down and let some of your students or your members jump on the radio and make some contacts, and we'd love to share amateur radio with you. So it gives you a opportunity to really engage with the public and to get those other club QSO cards. So whenever I talk about NARA, I do want to point out, and it was at the top of the page, we kind of focus on 4 areas. We've identified 4 key areas that we want to focus on: engagement, resources, advocacy, and outreach. And Club Week is an event that covers 2 of those real strong, which is the outreach, an opportunity to inform the general public about what is amateur radio, and engagement. It gives you opportunities to get on the air talking about something in a non-contest format, to collect those QSL cards, to talk to other clubs whom you guys have stuff in common with. Because if you're a club getting on the air, contacting another club, there's some common ground already in that conversation. So, and I guess events is part of it, but engagement, resources, advocacy, and outreach are important things that we really look at on how can we focus on those 4 things and make amateur radio a stronger, thriving community. And one of those is getting the clubs the resources that they need. So that's one of the things that we're really focused on. People ask questions about, do you guys do any advocacy and stuff like that? The answer to that is yes. We've already filed comments on 2 FCC dockets that they've had. The ARRL is doing a big push for HOA legislation that's right in the House and Senate right now. We just sent out an email to our members telling them a little bit about that. We have composed our own letter that we encourage our members to download it off of our website, customize it with their information and their representatives, and mail it out to their representatives to encourage their representatives to pass this bill. So that's one of the ways that we are involved in advocacy in the government level. We're not going to pay people in Washington, D.C. hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it on our behalf. We're going to put that power back in the members' hands so the members can contact their representatives and say, hey, I live in your state and I'm passionate about this, and I would like, for you to consider passing this and pushing this through. So as a national organization, we have to do that. It's important for us to look out for our members' interests and all amateur radios, operators' interests. So we do some advocacy there too. We're definitely a future-focused organization. Doing the initiatives like working with the youth on the CW award and partnering up with other organizations as well. I think that's one area that we will thrive in, is partnering and working with other organizations, which is great. You can see scrolling on the screen, Ham Threads, Ham Radio Guy Podcast, World Radio League, SparkCon. Those are some of the members who are actually members of NARA. But we're definitely focused on future. And one of the other areas where we saw that there kind of was a need that we don't think anyone's focusing on is the homeschool community. There are some national homeschool conventions. I think greathomeschoolconventions.com, they have 5 major conventions throughout the US, South Carolina, Missouri, maybe Texas, Ohio, and California. But we've been in talks with them about being a vendor at the homeschool conventions, because these conventions have families of kids who are going there saying, hey, I'm looking for a good math curriculum for my students who's going into the 7th grade. Or, I have a 9-year-old who likes to read and loves science, and, we're looking for curriculum for him. So families go to these homeschool conventions actively looking for things that their kids can get into. So we think it's important to be at those conventions saying, hey, have you heard of amateur radio? Your kids can get into this. It covers science, it covers math, it covers, all those STEM subjects that could help them in the future, as they transition into jobs. So we want to get into the homeschool communities and really work. And a lot of the young amateur radio operators I know personally are homeschooled. So it's a natural fit for us to be in that area. We are volunteer driven. We are a member organization, and we're looking for volunteers if anybody wants to volunteer. But anything between award management, website development, member management, things like that, there are opportunities to volunteer as well. And then we have some frequently asked questions on our webpage. One of the main things is, how is NARA different from the ARL or other organizations? And do you guys lobby, which I spoke on a few seconds ago. But we're definitely the ARL, as we are a membership organization for members, but there are lots of differences as well, and as far as what we're focused on and what we advocate for. The dues are $32 a year for an individual member, but one of those ways that we are different in a major way from the ARL is you can not only join as a member, and we want individual members to sign up. We're hoping to grow into an organization that's going to be, hundreds of thousands of people, tens of thousands of people someday, and be able to say, hey, yes, we have a valid representation of U.S. amateurs in, the United States. But not only can you join as an individual, but if you are a business, ICOM, HRO, Ham Threads, any company like that, you can join as a corporate member of the Alliance. And if you are a club, the Long Island CW Club, the Stones River Amateur Radio Club out of Tennessee, clubs like that can also join as a member of the organization, because they have a vested interest in amateur radio. As a member of the organization, and we've spent a lot of time how we really give the power to the members. And I just sent out an email to our members today that had a copy of the bylaws in them. They're published, but one of the things that we have in our bylaws is the opportunity for members to override the board in certain areas. So if a member says, hey, I want to petition the board to change this bylaw, and they have 100 signatures, they can come to the board and say, hey, we'd like to petition the board to change this bylaw and bring it to a vote for the members. If the board decides to say, nah, we don't care about that bylaw or whatever, they have the opportunity to repeal that by coming back with 200 signatures, at which case the board has to put it to a member vote, and the member's vote is final and overrides, if the board didn't want to approve or pass that bylaw, the members have the ultimate authority to come back and say, well, we collected 200 signatures. You have to put it before the vote of the members. And at that point, the members decide. So that's one of the ways where we try to give the members as much power as possible. As a member, you actually vote for 5 out of the 8 board members. There are 4 national officers, president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And you vote for the president, you vote for the secretary, you vote for the treasurer. And there's 3 territory managers, a central, a western, and an eastern. And whatever territory you live in, you vote for that territory representative as well. And that territory representative is on the board of directors. So you have a lot of say in who your national representatives are. And you also have the ability to initiate a recall of a national officer or a territory representative. So there's so much there to unpack and so much to go over. We're working on getting some of these finalized. I have some areas in here to highlight that we talked about just yesterday at our meeting. We had a board meeting yesterday, and there's some things in here that we need to go on. For example, the president does not have a vote with 8 members on the board. You could have a tie, 4 and 4, right? The president of the National Amateur Radio Alliance does not get a vote, which is unfortunate because I'm the. But I think it's the job of the president to facilitate the board meetings and not try and sway the board one way or the other. And if you have a president who's constantly saying, these are my views on this subject, and you you come loud and hard on that particular subject, I think you sway the board members to have the yes men and like, oh well, this is what the president wants to do, let's do that. So the president doesn't have a vote. The president's position is to moderate the board meetings and to hear both sides of the story and the debate, and let the board decide what they want to do, whether it's good or bad, and what the members want to do, and then give the power back to the member. So not a dictatorship. President doesn't get a vote. That makes 8 members, 7 and 3. You should not have a tie that way. And 3 of those representatives are territory representatives, and 3 of those are national officers. The 4th person is the previous past president, which of course we don't have right now. But the previous past president, because of his experience running the organization, becomes the de facto member of the board. After his term expires. And we have term limits written in here. We have filling vacancies, officers, all this stuff, members, meetings, and notice. We are working with the Foundation Group. The Foundation Group is a company out of Nashville, Tennessee, that specializes in nonprofit compliance and formation. And we're actually paying them to make sure that our bylaws are in compliance with the IRS requirements to get our national nonprofit certification, so that we can say we're a national nonprofit. They offer a money back guarantee. So the last time we sent these bylaws over to them, they said that they look good and we shouldn't have any problem getting the nonprofit status from the IRS. This is a multi-month, very long process. Once we get the application submitted to them, they have to come back and approve it. And all of that's in the works. But they also say that if you're going to be a membership organization, you have to have an annual meeting where the members are, allowed to meet and talk and vote on such things as the board shall decide what they can vote on. So we will have a yearly meeting where our members can meet, whether it be kind of like the ARL does with their national conference, or an online meeting. But we have to have an annual meeting for the members. But that's not just one. We can have special meetings as well. And members can call meetings as well for the members. And we want to hear as much as we can from our members. We want our members to play an active role. So we've divided the US into 10 regions. And those 10 regions coincide with FEMA regions because it just makes sense. When FEMA refers to something happening in FEMA Region 4, that is also our FEMA Region 4. In those regions, in the future, as we grow, we hope to have elections for a regional representative in those regions. Those 10 representatives, and it's spelled out in our bylaws under committees, I guess up here, that we have advisory boards. And we actually have a couple of advisory boards. We have a youth advisory board, and I'm very proud to say that we have a youth advisory board. If we come up with an initiative that we want to run, like the CW Young Keers Award, or if we decide to do something that involves youth, we can run it by our advisory board, and they can give us the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whether it be in person or the emojis. We want them to be able to have say, and like, what, that youth are not interested in that, kids are not interested in that. Or, hey, that's a great idea. To us and say, hey, we should do this for a youth outreach type thing. Advisory board. But the 10 regional representatives also act as a advisory board to the board of directors. They're not on the board of directors. They don't have a vote, but they're the ones that take their state representatives and they pass it up the chain to us. So basically, I will jump over to this page here. Come down here. I thought I had it up here. So we have a page, and it is our representatives. And our page of representatives gives you a opportunity to find who your state representative is, who your regional representative is, and I don't have the page up here, but it's not published yet because we're working on the map, but it has a very similar map, and it shows a breakdown of your state representatives who talk to your regional representatives, and there are 10. Your regional representatives act as an advisory board to the board of directors, and they also keep in touch with their territory representatives. And the territory representatives are on the board. So we have several levels of representation that you can contact to escalate questions, concerns, or if you have an amateur radio related problem, or you just need an advice. I said this in the Huntsville forum, and it went something like, if we don't have the answer, it's we've never been asked a question. And if we've never been asked a question, we probably never found out their need. So, if we don't know the answer to something, we'll certainly, go out of our way to find it and act as that concierge service. But if you don't ask the questions, we don't realize there's a need. And it's important for our members to say, hey, have you thought about doing this? We just had a member reach out to us and say they were getting ready to put together a MCOM trailer, and there's no necessarily standards or of MCOM trailers. There's no certification for MCOM trailers, and they thought, well, it'd be interesting to come up with a program where you could have a National Amateur Radio Alliance certified MCOM trailer that would meet certain qualifications, able to do multiple stations, able to do HF and UHF, able to have these capabilities and stuff like that. And it'd be a standard of what you would build out your MCOM trailer to, which also becomes a resource, because now, no matter what region you're in, we know that there are clubs out there that have MCOM trailers built to this standard who are able to help in these types of communications. One thing we haven't talked about is NARA's views on MCOM and emergency communications. And you have to have some, right? You're a national organization. And we certainly do. I've reached out to the folks from CISA a couple of times, having questions and trying to get some answers on different things. But we definitely promote AUXCOM, because taking the AUXCOM class, you learn how to integrate with your national ICS system. And the things that FEMA has outlined and the ICS and NIMS has outlined as far as emergency communications goes are kind of the standards that we choose to follow and promote. We're not going to go rogue and create our own. Integrate with the agencies who we should be supporting through MCOM. So, we having a database of trailers that are all built to a certain standard is interesting, and to be able to go to your local agency and say, hey, we have this MCOM trailer that we use for these events. The National Amateur Radio Alliance has certified it to these standards, and we have everything that they require to have that certification. If you guys need it as a resource, now you have some kind of a certification on your trailer that gives you some kind of credibility from a national organization. And there's nothing like that out there. And yes, that may be thinking way outside of the box. I tell people I think so far outside of the box, I've lost track of the box at this point. But you have to be very confident and slightly cocky to think that you're going to develop a national organization from nothing and make it work. And I think the steps that we have taken over the summer and how far we've come in such short and our vision, we're working out 2 to 3 year and 3 to 5 year strategic plans on how can we make an impact, grow the organization, become financially stable, and be able to do things like maybe scholarships in the future, or be able to do grants for those MCOM trailers in the future, and how can we help local clubs grow and create more events. Another event that I would like to see is an American Legion amateur radio event. There are several American Legion amateur radio clubs spread throughout the U.S. And there used to be a the National American Legion kind of coordinated that and brought those people together. But since these local clubs have kind of been disenfranchised from each other, and we would like to bring them back together under some kind of umbrella and say, hey, let's have a national American Legion week, American Legion Amateur Radio Club week, maybe to coincide with the American Legion's birthday in March every year, and do that. So that'd be another event, not only to recognize the the role that veterans and stuff play in what they do to protect America and their service that they've given to our country, but to recognize the amateur radio clubs in that specific segment of the community. I think that'd be really special to do. The other thing I haven't talked about is the State of Amateur Radio Survey. And this is a survey that's put together, and I say that it's kind of been put on the back burner just a little bit because we've been concentrating on our bylaws and other things that we our members through our membership. But we think it's important to do a very comprehensive State of Amateur Radio Survey, not just of our members, but reach out to social media that put it on Discord, put it on these different ham radio YouTube channels, send out letters to clubs and stuff. We'd like to have little QR codes at the major ham fest, Huntsville, Dayton, and Hamcation. Hamcation, Hamvention, and Huntsville Ham Fest, so that people can scan the QR code and take the survey. But you have to understand the needs of the operators. You have to find out where we are lacking as a community, where the community, and if you can take that information and analyze it and ask the right questions and get the data, we want to share that data, not just keep it for ourselves, but asking questions like what's the most prominent feature you look for in an HF radio? And once we have that information, we can share that with those who manufacture HF radios. Why haven't you ever joined a club, or do you find clubs actively participate in your community? So there's a bunch of questions. It's over 100, like 120 questions, 130 questions. We're trying to get that data that we can. So we're creating a survey that we want to collect, and that's the State of Amateur. There's a couple other organizations that do this. Hamcommunity.com has done a survey that they've had ongoing for several years. And then there's a gentleman, Dennis, that we're working with, who did a survey back in like 2018, 2019, right before COVID hit. He did a series of surveys. So he kind of has a great baseline of data that we can play off of and use to see where we've come, even in the short period. And this may be not an annual survey, but something that's conducted every 3 to 5 years to find out how things are changing and how we're measuring the progress of the amateur community. So that's the survey. Club Week, I think I've talked about most of these. New ideas coming soon. Like I said, I'm so far out there in thoughts and stuff like that. But a lot of these things are in action, even though they're not, you click the learn more, it doesn't go anywhere. Clearly, there's a registration page, and there's also the select or request speaker button's not there yet, but it's a part of it. So the Amateur Radio Alliance in a nutshell. If you do go to the top of the page, there's a join now area. If you're interested in volunteering, there is a volunteer section where you can sign up to volunteer and fill out your information as well. People represent us at Hamfest and spread the word. That's just getting the word out there. Questions, onboard new members, public testers. When that survey, we want beta test first and make sure. National elections, web design, award management, that we can use volunteers for that. But if you want to join the National Amateur Radio Alliance and help support our mission and vision and what we do, different ways like this all the time from people signing up as a individual founding member. Once you sign up, you'll receive an email that says, "Hey, welcome to the connect with us, get started in some of our initiatives."
You lost all your audio now, Mike.
Okay,
There you are. We lost you for a bit.
I'm not sure. Technology. Yeah, I don't have a mic. I need a wired mic. So when you join the Alliance, you can join as a 5-year founding member. We don't have a lifetime membership or anything like that. We've discussed like 10-year memberships and 25-year memberships. Individual memberships is $32. Families are prorated at $20 per person. So husband and wife, a dad and a son, a father, daughter, 2 brothers. That'd be $40 for the 2 of them, basically $32 for the first person, $8 for the second. We also have the corporate memberships and the organization. So if your club wants to join, what we do is we send you guys a special backlink, a special code, where if your individual members decide to join, they get a discount off of that $32 price. So it's a little different from how the ARRL does it. They have something in place where the secretary collects all the funds and sends them in. They'll send you a check. We just give you a discount up front. It's just easier. So if your club decides you want to join, we give you a discount code that you can distribute to your members if they decide individual members. Individual members do get a voting right. In fact, all of these, that didn't highlight, all of these people get voting rights at the during the national elections and the annual meeting. We have, take a drink real quick. I live off of chocolate, tea, and Mountain Dew. As you can see, I'm very busy between working a full-time job, developing, and I sell stuff online too. So I appreciate you guys having me on here tonight and taking time out of your night to let me tell you a little bit about the Alliance. But all of these members have voting rights. We have a membership guide that is almost on the verge of being published. We've worked on it. So if you're zoom this up a little bit. So if you're a individual, a family membership, you get voting rights. If you're an organization, corporate membership awarded, there's no voting rights for those. The dues scheduled, the dues are listed, rights and privileges, elections, and term limits. So we have a little bit of a membership guide that we're working on for our members. But basically, because our bylaws say, and the foundation group says, and the IRS says, if you have members, you have to list those membership classes, which would be individuals and youth. Those are the ones with the voting rights. But the board may establish non-voting membership classes as they will, which is where you get the corporate and the organization. They don't have membership rights. Would everyone in the corporation vote, and how would you ensure that a person was a part of that corporation? Interesting enough, though, if a corporation, say ham radio outlet, decides to join the Alliance, as a employee of the ham radio outlet, you can apply to be on a committee. If you are passionate about awards and you want to be on the awards committee, even though you may not be an individual member of the Alliance, because you're a part of an organization that is a part of the Alliance, you can apply to be on that committee, which is another way we're putting individuals in charge and getting individual feedback is by allowing people like this to be a part of the members and to have a say in, oh, hey, this committee recommends that the board does this, and that committee is comprised of individual members. The membership committee is not just board members. The outreach committee is not just board members. Any member of the National Amateur Radio Alliance can apply to be a member of any committee, which I think is right. I mean, it's your organization, right? It's a membership organization representing you. So these are some of the ways that we're different. We also have a document the nomination and election procedures. It's also mentioned in our bylaws somewhere up here. It's mentioned that the schedule of elections, when does the president get elected versus the treasurer get elected? Of course, we have staggered elections every couple of years. New board members get elected, so you don't have 100% turnover every 4 years. They're staggered, and how those elections are staggered are spelled out in the nomination of candidates, the election process, quorums needed, campaign conduct, all that stuff is spelled out in this document, which again has been developed from scratch. So we've taken an idea that occurred back in February, and we've developed a membership guide, elections guide, a board of elections and initiatives. We've been at the Huntsville Hamfest. We're going to be at another Hamfest. One of the things that we do for Hamfests, because we can't make it to every Hamfest, right? So we have these little red envelopes that we send, and we include a sticker, but it's a congratulations, you've been awarded a free membership into the Amateur Radio Alliance, the National Amateur Radio Alliance. And we reach out to Hamfest on about every month. We'll email as many as we can find for the following months. And we say, you know, we'd like to be there, but we can't. However, you know, we're offering to offer a couple of raffles, a couple of complimentary memberships that you guys can use as raffles for door prizes. Are you interested in them? So when they say that they want to, we send them out a complimentary membership in a nice envelope. We have some rat cards that we send out as well that tell about the Alliance. These are the same rat cards that we give out at shows. And then we also have a flyer that we've put together that talks about the National Amateur Radio Alliance. So if a Hamfest says, well, yeah, we'll take the raffles and we'll use them as door prizes, we put together a packet of this and we send them out as another way to support small clubs in Hamfest, even though we're not able to be there in person. So, and that's a lot of work too, but I think it's definitely worth the benefit to reach out and see those come back in whenever a Hamfest comes back. We manually approve those. There's a special code that's printed on them, so we know that they came from a particular Hamfest, and it's always interesting to see those come back. That's a lot. Any questions? I guess I can open it up for questions. I don't know. I didn't really ask you, Dan, how much time I have, but I'm open for questions. Or I want to remind everyone about Club Week, because it's coming up in November, and we want to get as many clubs participating as possible in this. Reach out to members of your community now and say, hey, you know, can we come set up, you know, in your church parking lot on this Friday? Now, the cool thing about it is it says Club Week, but it's November 1st through the 8th, and you're like, wait, 8 days become a week. But it's not a contest. There's not a specific start and stop time. And if you look at the, you could see, you know, people could potentially be calling CQ Club Week, and that's what we recommend, CQ Club Week. they could be doing that the Saturday before the 8th and the Saturday after the 8th, or even the Sunday after, because there's no, absolute stop time for that. It's November 1st through the 8th, and don't send me your logs. If you want to send me an email, say, hey, we participated and made this many contacts, maybe we'll have a place where you can submit a summary. Did you participate? How many contacts did you make, and what call sign did you use? But we don't want the logs. It's not an event for us to, really brag about, as much as it's an opportunity for people to get on the air. And that's what we want. All right, Dan, what do we got?
Okay, you want to take down the screen share?
Yeah, absolutely.
Quick, there you are. Hi.
That's so much, right?
I don't see any hands up. Anybody got any questions out there?
Nothing in chat.
Okay. You're breaking up again there, Mike.
I think I saw someone was taking notes, so that's good.
Or they're writing a letter to their loved one.
Could be.
All right. Well, I don't see any hands up. There's nothing in chat. Thanks, Barry. So, it's been a good presentation. You rounded out what the organization is all about, and we'll get it out there for the world to see.
I have a question. I don't think he's on here anymore. I don't see his. I don't see him on here. But
You're really breaking up bad. It sounds like a bandwidth problem.
Okay, it could be. But you're a member of the Alliance, Dan, right?
You're right. I am a member.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was, as people were joining, I was searching in our database to see who were members and who may not have been members and stuff like that, just to see where everyone was standing, to see if there was anyone I could call out and say thanks to.
Well, people are starting to leave the chat now, so maybe we ought to wrap her up and do another one next month.
Yeah, we've been good hour there. Yeah, I'll be back around next month after the Ham Fest, and we can definitely talk again. But I appreciate you guys having me on.
No problem. Happy to have you. Good luck with your endeavors there.
You bet. Thanks a lot, Dan.
All right. 73s.
Thanks.
Thank you all for coming. Good night, all.